So this is a personality test that after the marriage conference they told us we can do, which is just a fun thing. They're never all right, okay? So when you do this, if you do, don't think that whatever it says is you. It's like the zodiac stuff, right? Some of it's very close to you, but it's sometimes a bunch of nonsense. Now, this is my wife's. And as you can see, over here explains what it is. Dominance describes the way you deal with problems and assert yourself and control situations. Influence describes the way you deal with people and the way you communicate and relate to others. Describes your temperament, patience, persistence, and thoughtfulness. I think my wife is right here, which she already shown. Describes how you approach and organize your activity and procedures and responsibility. A very logical, organized person, I believe. Compliance right here. Now going back to my wife, here we go again. Oh, so she has compliance and steadiness, which actually really does match her. Now let's see what this thing says about her. It says she is tenacious, supposedly, and determined to follow a course of action to achieve objectives. You are a clear thinker. You have an inner need to be objective and analytical. You like to pursue a definite course of action. You respond to logic rather than emotions. You are likely to be particularly good at handling challenging technical assignments. This is completely wrong, all right? Even my wife admits it. Dude, most of this on hers was completely off the wall, to be honest.
Or you just don't know your wife that well.
But are you logical?
I can be.
Yeah, she is.
I don't like
You know what? Compared to me, she is way more logical. See, she's hearing me tell this, and she has to interject. So she's saying she's logical. I'll give her that one because I am more of an emotional guy, but I like to go off of logic, but my emotions get in the way. Now, let's see here. Responds to logic rather than emotions. I don't know. It's hard for me to read that on my wife because most of the time we get into arguments or frustrating talks. I'm always the one to come up and apologize and take that role in our relationship. But she automatically shuts down and goes into a room or just completely closes her mouth and doesn't speak anything until later on. That's usually how our fights go. Now, maybe that is her being more logical. She doesn't want to stir up more conflict, so rather than going into her emotions and screaming at me and fighting with me, like some relationship I've seen do, she chooses to think logically and walk away from the situation, which actually, going from anger management class, is the proper thing to do if you can advise it. But my personality is, it will not ever go away, so I need to resolve it as quickly as possible. Let's move on. Now, this is actually the last one here, scheduler. I think my wife is good at this because this is what she does at our business anyways. You know, like I said, I've had a nice almost 2 months away from the business other than visiting it to check up on it, to de-stress and get my head ready for this year. And so she has been doing the scheduling, talking to my managers. I've been running this business for a long time, 7 years now. And I am very fast at thinking, and I'm very good at talking to people, but sometimes because my brain is going a mile a minute, I get a little chaotic, and it stresses the employees out, and it stresses myself out, you know. And back then, I used to do everything, but I still knew how to at least micromanage some things to my manager, which is what you're supposed to do. This is the point of having a manager or even assistant manager when you're the general manager. So, of course, as it was shown, yeah, the main things that I knew it was going to be is these two right here when I saw this test at the end. So I have a very big dominance issue. Now, these are all saying positive things, right? But to be honest, you know, that comes from a lot of control issues, right? Wanting to be in control. You know, I used to, I said this on a YouTube comment not too long ago, but someone was talking about, you know, always being the friend that drives the car and how it sucks because we're getting the gas wasted, right? And back in high school, I was that guy. I was the one that picked up all my friends and we would always drive. But at the same time, I did it because I had control issues. I wanted to be the one that went home when I wanted to go home. I wanted to be the one that at least went to somewhere or guided my friends because it's my vehicle, right? But back then, honestly, because all my homeboys were dominant too, most of the time I didn't get my way. But I still had a reason for why I wanted to drive my car. And plus, a lot of my friends did not have cars. And we had no gas money. Hard times back then. All right. And for me, it says, you are socially oriented. You have a strong self-motivation to get to know people. I thought it was just going to say self-motivation, but it says to get to know people in all walks of life and to nurture those relationships. You have a natural enthusiasm for all types of ideas and projects, your own and others' people's. People are likely to describe you as gregarious. I looked it up. I had no idea what this word was. It just means I like to be sociable, persuasive, and optimistic. I think all this is true about me except for this part. I'm working on the optimism part. I'm a little bit more of a negative thinker a lot of times because I say it's because of my logical thinking, but it turns into negative thinking, fear, anxiety. Like I said, this test just wants to say positive things. It doesn't tell us the negatives. Persuasiveness can be turned into manipulation, which I've done in the past quite a bit when I was a young adult because of abuse and all this stuff that I struggled with. All these positives can be turned into a negative. So I just proved my point. How I could turn positive things into negative things. Anyway, it says jobs for me, sales representative. I do like talking to people, so I don't think this is too off the record. Customer service sales manager. Okay, I am already basically a manager of my own business. It's not a big enough business for me to just be the owner. I am also the manager there. So now this one I thought was hilarious. Zumba instructor. Luckily they didn't ask questions about my weight and height and what activities you do. So this one is just so off the wall, man. But in another life, I could see myself in spandex, breaking it down with my older ladies in their 40s to 50s, and 60s. If you're a Zumba person and you're in your 30s and younger, you deserve a thumbs up because you are courageous, my friend. Anyways, I thought that was just fun to share. So, y'all have a blessed Sunday and see y'all later.